Alright, you guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Talks with Antoine. We're not going to waste any time. This is going to be a review on part 3 of the finale for Real Housewives of Potomac, along with some updated news since I've last been on here in regards to some of the castmates. So first, I'm just going to start off with the news, right? Mia's not coming back. Can we get a round of applause for Mia not coming back? Um, and this goes against everything that I had said in my video last year, right? When Gordon was open about his diagnosis, and he was being vulnerable, and we watched them two, try to come together after having a really rough season and a rough patch in their marriage last year, which was leading up to a divorce. I thought that Mia was going to take center stage. I thought that Mia was going to be the new housewife, as I thought her story was truly authentic. And however, I forgot that Mia be lying. Mia lied from the beginning of this season all the way to the end, all the way from the paternity test, all the way from her leaving Gordon, ended up with Ink. Even Giselle clocked that she doesn't even live in DC no more. She's been staying in Atlanta, which makes sense because when she was in Charlotte and was crying, she said that had Gordon had took the kids and had took them out of state. All of that was a crock of bullshit. She's been trying to like corner Gordon into filming and scenes that he's clearly uncomfortable with. One of the friends of the show, and I keep forgetting her name, Jazzy. Jazzy said that honestly, that was elderly abuse. Was it Jazzy or was it Kay? I think it was Kay. Kay was just like, "Oh yeah, no, this is elderly abuse that you were doing to him," and I'm like, "No, that makes absolute sense. Like, you have been trying to like poke at this man, knowing that one, he is up in age, and two, he does suffer from bipolar disorder. So I'm not sure if this is her get back from her having to deal with these mental health issues all throughout their entire marriage. But ultimately, you had kids by this man, so that's your choice. Um, However, nevertheless, after she walked off of part 2 and nobody followed behind her, and Giselle has stepped up as a big mama bear, saying that basically, like, what the fuck you were doing was not of a good mother, and you need to be checked about that. And which absolutely right. We may say a lot of things about Giselle, but one thing we can't say is that she doesn't love her kids and that she's not a good mother and she's not for being a good mother. And one of the things that her and Karen bonded off of, though that they were frenemies, is that they were mothers. And which also goes into the history behind the start of this show, because they are all a part of a a club, I would say, because I actually don't want to drop the name on here. I don't think they want to be affiliated with the show whatsoever. But it was a mothers club where they were all raising their children together, right? Doing activities and this, that, and the third, et cetera, et cetera. You can go look it up for yourself. It's not that hard. It's a all black mothers club. Anywho, they bonded off of that. Sharice as well. Um, I'm not sure if Robin's kids are a part of that same organization or not. And I'm pretty much sure Ashley kids, being like 7/8 white, probably won't be a part of that association either. But that's besides the point. Um, she digged into her ass, so we're not going to see her come back this season, which is fine. But enough about Mia. We're going to move on. Karen is spending a year in prison. Excuse me. Karen is spending a year in jail. Word on the street, and this is according to what Ashley and I believe Giselle heard, that there was multiple plea deals prior to her getting this sentencing. So she got sentenced to 2 years, 1 year suspended. So she's only serving a year. However, one of the plea deals was house arrest. The other plea deal was to only serve, I believe, 6 months or 90 days. One of those two. I know that's a giant difference, but it was significantly less of a consequence than what she's doing now. And I'm watching another creator on here, and she was like, basically, there had to be a level of narcissism for Karen to want to take this to trial. And there's no way in hell that she didn't see these videos prior to moving forward and taking this to trial. I don't know why would you? And the reason why I said this is because that her legal counsel tried to get the videos suppressed prior to them being dropped because they knew how bad this was. It was almost self-incriminating. So I have to believe that Karen thought because of who she was, she could basically ride this one out. But baby, this is your fourth DUI. Maryland is extremely lenient. So for them to even put you in jail, that was a stretch. And the judge had to look over the plea deals and like, and she still decided to take this to trial. Now I definitely have to dig into her ass. And there's no amount of apologies that you can say for driving home drunk. Now, in addition to that, the entire cast um the entire cast has different accounts of Karen either calling them intoxicated, um, bars in the local area of Potomac that she would go to and get drunk every single day. Um, Ashley was on the train on the way to New York, and a guy was having this casual conversation with her, and she was, basically explaining like, "Hey, I'm a part of this show, this, that, and the third." He goes, the guy that she was discussing, "Hey, I used to work at Ocean Prime, and Karen used to come down here and get drunk every single day." Are you fucking serious? Out of casual conversation, they didn't even know that, hey, Karen is a fucking drunk. At 60 something years old, you decided instead of house arrest to serve a year in prison. And then there's an audio going around of her final words to Ray, talking about some, "Ray, hold it down, you'll be all right." Something is seriously not right. Sharice, Ashley, Robin, and Giselle have tried to clock her tea over the years without fully exposing who she is, right? And we saw the incident when they had that cabin trip and she was getting fucked up off a fireball and the mic was still on. We knew that Karen was kind of drunk when Candace had got introduced to the group and she had that wig slid all the way the fuck back. And here we are, years later, video drops, wig slid all the way the fuck back, drunk as fuck. And I am so disappointed because as someone who was a fan, now realizing who you are as a person, I'm like, it's just disheartening, And I feel for her family. I feel for Uncle Ben. Like, poor Uncle Ben. What is he supposed to do? He's been dealing with her bullshit. She's 60 years old. He's in his 80s, and it feels like he's taking care of a goddamn child who's never grew up. And that's I just feel for him. And maybe now he can pack all his shit up instead of renting this house in Potomac that he doesn't, honestly want. And he's only staying here because Karen is filming here. He may actually go to Florida. The daughter may actually move on. I feel bad for her son. He lives a regular life and he may get, drawn into this now because his mom is plastered all over Fox 5 at 8 o'clock in the morning talking about, "I'm lit and I'm Thomas Jefferson's concubine." Like, then she like filmed the day before, I believe, the sentencing, or the day before she left to go to her luxury rehab facility. And it was bullshit. And you can tell, like, she was, trying to read a book. She was trying to come off very demure and, Ray's bringing up statistics about, um, how many drunk drivers get into accidents a year or whatever. And she was like, "I've been on antidepressants and I'm self-medicating and drinking at the same time," which I feel like is some housewife shit. Like doing uh opioids and being a fucking drunk is the perfect combination to a bitch that didn't have to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, she had a man 20 years her senior taking care of everything. She was probably bored. And the closest thing to her was her parents. And I get it, but it's been almost a goddamn decade. You know what I mean? Like 2025 makes 10 years that my grandfather has been gone, and my mother took it the hardest because ultimately she was the person that took care of him before he passed away, and she was the closest to him. However, 10 years later, my mother is not on fucking antidepressants. She's not taking fucking Xannies and drinking her fucking life away. Like, she still gets up and continue to move forward. I mean, I get it's different strokes for different folks, but it's that's not an excuse anymore. You can mourn, but you can mourn in therapy. You can mourn, but you can mourn in a support group. You can you can mourn in being, jumping further into the three wick candle business, transmuting a lot of that pain into positivity. You could have honored your mother and father in some other way that would bring you solace than, clinging to a goddamn bottle. And it was also no way that she said that she had a couple of beers and then she drove. That bitch was blackout drunk. And she said that in the video that she was blackout drunk. There was no way. Her ass was taking them goddamn fireball shots, and then she had beers to compliment. And word on the street, there was somebody else in the car with her that once they crashed, she fled. And she mentioned that in the goddamn video. So we're not sure if that was Blue Eyes. We're not sure who that was. But word on the street, like, so now there's somebody with you. They fled. They left you for dead. Ray pulls up. He's telling you to shut the fuck up in front of the police. He's trying to die down in the situation as much as possible. You can tell that this is not his first rodeo with your drunk ass being behind the goddamn wheel. I'm not sure why the state of Maryland also didn't permanently suspend your license. Like, I don't know why they didn't just made sure that you did not drive whatsoever. Now, on the positive note, at least she hit a tree instead of hitting somebody's child. Hitting another vehicle, honestly, because then she would have been 61 years old going to jail for fucking manslaughter. You know what I mean? Like, the dial would have been turned all the way up at that point. But hopefully this is a learning lesson for her. I honestly don't see her coming back to the show. I did say that in the previous video that she may be coming back, but I don't think it's realistic. Um, Jumping into Stacy, and this is the next person that was in the hot seat. Um, Stacy started off, like I said in a previous video, very, so the next person in the hot seat, Stacy. We see Stacy start off, very shy, very quirky, very boring, and I'm not gonna, you know, harp on this point for too long, but she ended up being very calculated. By the time that she had checked Karen towards the end of the season, we knew who Stacy actually was, and it's also getting me excited to see her next season. However, word on the street is that she paid TJ to be her fake Christian boyfriend throughout the entire series. So TJ gets a FaceTime call from Eddie and all the other husbands, just trying to figure out where he's at. Hey, where are you at? Like, are you doing the reunion? Are you here for Stacy? He goes, man, I'm not doing that fake ass show with them fake ass people. I'm back in LA. So we get that part of the clip. We get Wendy getting the text message of the T. The T basically is that TJ says that Stacy was paying him to do the show and that he didn't get the rest of his money. Stacy, on the other hand, Stacy, on the other hand, is saying that no, he's just upset that we have broke up. He's just upset that we're not together no more. And I feel so sad that I lost my best friend. And I am in such disbelief. And I mean, she's denying. Wendy, halfway through the goddamn episode, was saying basically, like, before this tea comes out, before we bring Eddie to this goddamn stage, I need you to clear this up because these women will never let you live this down if you decide to continue on with the lie. Baby, she's stuck beside that lie. Girl, she's stuck beside that lie like Ashley stuck beside her creepy ass ex husband. By the way, Ashley is officially divorced after up teen years. Just like Robin is back married after up teen years, right? Um, that's so crazy that Stacy got divorced before Ashley did. That's how long they've been in litigation. Remember last season, it was like this joint LLC and her getting this house. I'm tired of her shit too. But moving back to Stacy, she's like, when he was like basically cleared this shit up, she continued to stick to the lie. She continued to, say, I'm in disbelief and, I just can't believe that, he would say that and this, that, and the third. Bullshit, but I'm still willing to watch her next season. Like, it was the highlight of the episode was, this is extremely disappointing. And then she goes to like this long pause and goes, but still I rise. And I'm like, girl, the whole cast goes, girl, I need you to leave Maya Angelou out of this, out of your goddamn tomfoolery. Like, please. And TJ trying to get his 15 minutes of fame as an extra to every goddamn episode, every goddamn sitcom in the goddamn 90s with 1 to 2 lines per goddamn episode. He goes, maybe I should drop the real tea in like a later clip. And the internet didn't take too well to that. He was like, down there, like, girl, now you're fishing. Like, even if you do have the real tea, like nobody gives a fuck. Like, you're being a good sister on this goddamn camera. I mean, behind that goddamn camera, trying to get a couple of goddamn views. Like, please, Um, and it's not too much to really hop on with Stacey. Like, you guys can watch the video yourselves. Like, the first 30 minutes was really about like trying to get down to the nitty gritty about her lies. And honestly, that's what it was really about. And then the second half was Karen. But yeah, that kind of like wraps up my opinion on this show. Again, they start filming at the end of March, so we'll probably see a premiere sometime in September of this year. This is going to be 10 years. Because Mia stepped down, because Karen is now in jail, because Candace is gone, because Robin has been fired. I'm wondering where RHOP is going to go. Um, I honestly think they need to do away maybe with the entire cast and get a whole new set of fresh faces. However, being that it is the DMV, it is extremely difficult to cast here because people are not in this city necessarily looking for fame. They're looking for power, prestige, and position. Um, and not necessarily wanting to be behind the camera, you know? But I 10 years in, there does need to be a complete switch up if this franchise is going to continue. And that's just my personal opinion on that. But yeah, I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. We're going into 20 minutes. This has been Talks with Antoine. Peace.